to the cries on the streets. From broken promises to bold reforms, one show rises above the spin. Crestline.
If monkey jumps, when the tree is not close, the monkey will break legs.
They used 18 members to impeach a governor instead of 22 members.
The political show that dares to go deeper. Crestline brings the voices, the verdicts, and the vision that shapes our future. Join Rayo, Akinsowon. Tough questions, real answers, no filters. Crestline, where politics speaks.
Good evening and welcome to Crestline, where politics speaks.
I'm your host, Rayo Akinsowon. Tonight, our lens is on Nigeria's foreign relations and economic diplomacy. Two big issues dominate the conversation. First, we'll be talking about Nigeria's deepening ties with China partnership worth millions in loans and projects. But is it a debt trap or a development lifeline? And secondly, the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, the world's largest free trade bloc. Is Nigeria truly maximizing its potentials as Africa's biggest economy? Yeah, we're going to get the answer for my guest today. And thirdly, today, the implications of Nigeria's inability to appoint ambassadors to foreign missions, a diplomatic gap at a critical time. Joining me to explore this issue is someone who has lived the realities of diplomacy. Ambassador Hassan, Muhammed Hassan, is a seasoned career diplomat, former special advisor to former President Olusegun Obasanjo. He served in London as Minister in charge of Industry, Trade and Investment at Nigeria's High Commission, and also acted as Nigeria's ambassador to the United States. Ambassador Hassan, it's an honor to have you in the studio.
It's a pleasure, Rayo.
All right, let's get straight to the point we're talking about. The first talking point now has to do with Nigeria-China relations. Let's begin with China. Nigeria's economic ties with Beijing continue to deepen, from railways to power projects. Much of our infrastructure today has China footprint, but critics warn of a looming debt trap. Ambassador, from your vantage point, do you see this as a balanced partnership or one that threatens Nigerian sovereignty?
It's not easy for one to say it's a balanced partnership, and also it's not easy to say if it's a debt trap. But whatever it is, it's up to Nigeria to make or mar the relationship. China and Nigeria established their relationship in 1970. And since that time, it has been growing from strength to strength up to this point we are talking about. So China didn't come to Nigeria and China didn't come together with any ulterior motive other than developing their countries and their people. So if Nigeria chooses to overburden herself with debt from China, do you know, debt itself, loans are not bad. It depends on what you use them for. And if you decide to abuse the process, there is nothing one can do. So many countries in this today, in the world today, are heavily indebted countries, but they use the monies they get in terms of loan effectively and judiciously. But Nigeria's situation, people are talking of debt trap, but I don't think that is the objective. The objective is to develop the country, and the loans are targeted to specific sectors of the economy. And if Nigeria decides to work it through, it will be a very good advantage for Nigeria. But if it decides to misuse the opportunity, then the money you collected from somebody, you just have to pay him. So I don't know what is debt trap or what is what, but I believe Nigeria is doing its best to go through the loan processes and execution of the projects effectively.
You have a point of view that, most Nigerians will say, oh, we got this loan from China and we couldn't see the effect on the citizens.
Yes. That is where I emphasize that how the government goes about it is very important. If they decide to rubbish it, they are rubbishing themselves. But if they decide to be up and doing, they are making things good for themselves. So whichever way they make or mar is the fault of the government and not that of China.
Okay, some say these loans lack transparency and risk mortgaging our future. Others argue that development comes at a cost and Nigerians must seize this opportunity. Where should the balance lie?
There's no balance in this, because you ask for loan, because it's not easy. You go to some countries, ask for loans. One, they don't give you soft loans. Two, they give you some conditionalities that are very difficult to satisfy, but because you are in their need, you go for the loan. But most Chinese loans are kind of, one, they are long term, 10, 15 years, 20 years. And they are tailored in such a way that if you are very careful, you drive maximum benefit out of it. Of course, China will want to provide the machineries and all that. Why not? They give the money and they have the machineries. They have the technology. Why not? Why do you collect their money and you go for something else? So if you want to collect somebody else's money to use other people's technology, then go for those that have the technology to give you the money. But if they're giving you their money and they have the technology, you just go ahead and get it done.
Let's take the railway project as an example. So Nigerian government got loan from China to facilitate that project. So in your own opinion, how will you assess this project? So far so good.
The assessment so far, I can't see Nigeria. I don't know how to describe it, but I don't know the quantum of the loan, and I also don't know the projects the loans are directed to. If they are actually directed to something positive that will improve and develop the country, is okay and fine. But if they are directed in some haphazard manner, and which is Nigeria is known for doing hanky-panky in most of our loans. We take the loans and we feel we shouldn't pay back, and we behave anyhow, and some people get under costs and all that. Then we blame ourselves. We shouldn't blame China, because there are so many countries elsewhere in the world that have collected loans from China and paid back, and they are happy, and China is willing to give them more and more. So China, in fact, is I believe is a blessing to the world, because they are coming up very strongly, and even at the United Nations, they identify with the developing countries. So China, I don't think they have any ulterior motive in their economic dealings with Nigeria or any other developing country.
Don't you think to some extent that Nigerians should be self-sufficient in terms of taking care of basic amenities rather than going outside to get loan? And if you could recall recently, the Speaker of House of Assembly was saying that there should be a check and balance in getting foreign loans. And what's your reactions to that?
Yeah, he is right. He is right, because there is lack of transparency and commitment on the part of those that are taking the loans. I believe they have what they call the Nigerian factor issue is kind of involved in the whole process. So the transparency is a factor which Nigerians to some extent are not very good at it. So we don't turn around and blame the country giving us the loans. So in that respect, China, they're doing very well worldwide, and today China from at least, I mean, from a developing country, today China's economy is #2 in the world and growing. So I believe if we establish a relationship or good rapport with China, that will be the only pathway to development.
So whatever happens to our relationship or with our loan with China, is saying that it's Nigerian government should take responsibility for that. And do you believe in this school of thought that some are saying that the loans that Nigerian government is getting from China, that generations to come will have to pay for it?
Yeah, but maybe we have to pay for it. That is not a problem, paying for it. But if it's used for the purposes it's supposed to, then it can pay itself. Because money, you use money, multiply the money, and it generates income, and is through, even at individual level. You go to a bank, they assess you, they give you the loan. If you apply the loan specifically for what you ask for, you get it without any difficulty. You get through without any difficulty. But if you pick the loan and you go and get married, for example, you go and buy a car, you go and do other things, you are in a hurry to prove to the world that you have arrived, while you have something before you. But if you are patient enough, execute the project, that project can be self-sustaining, and in the process, you pay back the loan, and you are home free. So I wouldn't blame China for anything regarding Nigeria's loans. We have to maybe rejig and make our approach to issues much more serious.
That word rejig, I don't want to go, because the past government, then they're used to that word rejig, so I don't want to go there. And let's shift our focus to Africa now. The African continent free trade agreement was eroded as a game changer. Single market for over 1 billion people, yet Nigeria seems slow in maximizing its trade advantage. Ambassador, why do you think we are lagging, and what should be done differently in terms of Nigeria now at that level?
You see, Nigeria is a very unique country. And Nigeria doesn't take most of our issues. They don't take issues too seriously as a nation, because by the time you decide to join, Nigeria is a very big country, and the economy, if well managed, Nigeria can do so many things in the African Continental Trade Agreement policies that started in 2018. What is happening is we are a bit laid back, until something happens and we are pricked somewhere, then our consciousness comes in. And we say, oh, we are not doing this, we are not doing that, we have to do this, we have to do that. After the whole euphoria, we relapse. So the African Continental Free Trade Area is a very good project. But there are so many conditions that you get to satisfy. And those conditions are, you see, the African Continental Trade Agreement is like, is a free trade for African continent without tariffs and without barriers. And we, within the Nigerian enclave, are our industries doing well?
That's a big question.
Yes. And our people versatile enough? Nigerians, their worry is to go to UK, to go to US and Canada. The traders amongst us, that is their area of interest. If you restrict it to Africa, Nigeria is, for example, a bit of an improved African situation. Because if you go to some African countries, you'll be amazed how they survive in such places. They are very, foreigners are the dominant people in their economies, and their factories and industries are not doing well, just like Nigeria. Nigeria has failed a lot of people. Nigeria has failed the black race, because with what we have, nature-given resources, and the talents we have in this country, we are not supposed to be in this mess we are. So we are not, even amongst ourselves, we are not competitive enough to provide things like construction of road, for example, for goodness sake. We have engineers that can, but up till today, apart from China, you see some Asians, you see some, they're doing the construction work. Why do you do that? Why are Nigerians not part of it? These are areas that we can take advantage of and project ourselves into the African free trade area. And there are so many fields that we can develop expertise in, and we take advantage of that. But now, we have African continental trade, and the facilities are poor, the road network not existing, air transportation is poor, and the trade depends on most of these factors that I mentioned. And where do you come up with something that you will trade and you make profit? And Nigeria is, we're not doing well at all. We're not.
You said Nigeria is not doing well at all at that stage, and how do we get out of how do we come out of this?
We have to be serious.
Seriousness.
Yes, serious. When we have to be serious with ourselves, and we avoid somersaults, policy somersaults. For example, during the last administration, they gave people money, they established rice milling machines, and they encouraged farmers, loans and everything, let them produce rice. And they did. They produce over 80% of what we consume. All of a sudden, they are there, and today is something else. All the factories are not functioning. Why? Because they imported rice from wherever. They're killing the domestic market, and they provide jobs for other countries instead of providing jobs for your nation. So, and this are abound in almost all fields. Apart from Dangote that is coming, look at our petroleum sector. NNPC and Nigerian oil refineries have been consuming our money for God knows how long. Look at Dangote came up just a few years and he's dominating everywhere. And he's exporting everywhere. And Dangote is importing crude, Nigeria is exporting crude. Why don't we come together? Let's come up with something that will be to the advantage of everyone. So these are issues that if we look at carefully and harness our efforts without bitterness, without anything, if you produce this item and that gentleman produced this item, government should come and encourage you. Why? Because that will give you some impetus and you move into the African continental free trade area, because the free trade is trade that is not controlled, without tariffs and without restrictions. So you are free to travel, but there are conditions that you have to satisfy. Those conditions that have to be satisfied are non-existent or are very epileptic.
What are the conditions?
The conditions are you have to have harmony in terms of policies, customs, monetary policies, investment that are capable of turning the economy around. These are some. And you have to have communication. Because you are in Nigeria, you should communicate freely with somebody in Egypt or South Africa or Mozambique. How do you communicate? Communication is not only telephone. Transportation. There is no road network sufficient to carry the idea that we have of after African free trade. There are visas that are restricting movements. I read some time ago that a Nigerian businessman who is interested in traveling in Africa for his businesses, he had to get about 34 visas to different countries.
In Africa?
In Africa. So you see, maybe he may have exaggerated, but I believe if you are, apart from West Africa that has free movement, ECOWAS, if you are to get out of ECOWAS, you have to have visa. And the after the African continental free trade area is not only West Africa. So my idea would have been, instead of rushing towards a continental organization, we have regional organizations like ECOWAS. ECOWAS, we have advanced, we have policies because they are French, English, Lusophone policies, and the people are used to what they are used to. So, but we are gently and carefully crafting the policies that will accommodate everybody. So, if ECOWAS is able to progress, then SADC, the South African Development Commission, they follow the same process. The East African, they follow the same process. North African follow the same process. Then we will reach a critical stage whereby we say, okay, let's come together. By the time we come together, those regional bodies are already functioning. So it will be easier for us to come together and establish. But all of a sudden, we want to do this, we want to do that, without taking into account that these are requirements and how far have we gone with the requirements? Are they attainable? And are they functional? What are the impediments? These are things we didn't answer. So we have a secretariat in Accra, we have this, we have that, but they are now faced with difficulties and problems that are seeming to be unsurmountable.
I want to thank still Crestline and Ambassador Hassan Muhammed. Hassan is here answering all the questions. We'll be going for the short break, and when we come back, Crestline continues. Please stay with us.
From the corridors of power to the cries on the streets, from broken promises to bold reforms, one show rises above the spin. Crestline.
If monkey jumps when the tree is now closed, monkey will break legs.
They used 18 members to impeach a governor instead of 22 members.
The political show that dares to go deeper. Crestline brings the voices, the verdicts, and the vision that shapes our future. Join Rayo, Akinsowon. Tough questions, real answers, no filters. Crestline, where politics picks.
Welcome back, still Crestline, and thank you so much for joining us. And I still have Ambassador Hassan Muhammad Hassan in the studio. And moving forward now, let's talk about the ambassadors and diplomacy. Now to a pressing diplomatic concern. Nigeria currently struggles to fill ambassadorial positions in key countries, including China that we've been talking about, the US, and across Africa. Ambassador, how damaging is this to Nigerians' foreign policy, especially when global competition is so fierce?
It's damaging. It's not damaging as such, because these are concepts that can be modified and practicalized. I mean, we used to have ambassadors, even in the previous government, even though they delayed for about a year, but they appointed ambassadors, and the government before them. So the essence of having an ambassador in a place is like at an individual level. You have people within your community, and you trust and entrust people that go through the process of training, and they do a lot of they're well groomed in the process. You send them out to represent you. So when you send them out to represent you, one, they will have confidence in themselves, and the foreign policy projection of any nation has its base from the domestic policy. So if the domestic policies are not well aligned with the foreign policy, then you have a situation like what we are having now. Ambassadors are not appointed, foreign policy is not the priority of the government, and so many things. So it creates unnecessary problems. Like now, it's 2 years and counting. We don't have one single ambassador outside, but we have officers that are senior enough of ambassadorial ranks, and you can easily, these are civil servants, and they have attained, like myself, they are, when you attain that position, the government, the salary I was earning, was the same salary given to me as an ambassador. So it doesn't take anything. Those guys that are all over the world today, most of them are very senior enough to fill in the gaps if finances are the problems. So we really don't know, even though they will tell you, the economy is not doing well, they say so. And when you talk in terms of dollars, that's the foreign service doesn't take payments in naira, is in dollars. And if somebody is earning $1,000 multiplied by $1,500 is a lot of money in Nigeria. But there are professions, and they are very important, that the government has to close its eyes to make sure that they go in tandem with what is expected of the government and aspiration of the government itself and the nation. So in a situation today where we don't have a single ambassador, be it a career or a political, yes. So we, in the foreign service, there is what they call reciprocity. And they are something like similar to that of the military. If you send somebody who is not an ambassador, he is limited to certain functions by the receiving country. Because even if he didn't attain the knowledge, but once you give him a letter of credence stating that this is somebody I trust and I entrusted him to you, and he can talk on behalf of the government of Nigeria, that is it. He can see the president, he can see the prime minister, he can see the minister on specific issues, and he can, once a president visits a place, he will sign agreements, but there are follow-ups. And the follow-up mostly is the ministers in the respective countries and their officials. So if you don't have ambassador, then you are already limited to the level to which you can access those in public, those in government in those places. So it's kind of is reducing ourselves, and because we want to save money, we want to do this, we can be innovative and come up with policies that are taking into account our scarcity in terms of dollars, and what we have to do as a nation to see the whole world. We can devise a way in which you have an ambassador covering with concurrent accreditation in some places. So with that approach, you will reduce the number of ambassadors if needs be. But preferably, you have your ambassadors, 198 of them, and about 40 consulates, that's about 130. They are very, very essential in the conduct of diplomacy. But what do we do? This is the situation. If the government is prioritizing foreign policy, they just have to get their acts together.
The situation we find ourselves that you said last administration, they were like a year or thereabout before they could appoint.
Yes.
And this administration now,
2 years.
2 years and still counting.
2 years and counting.
As big as we are, we say we are giant of Africa, and our presence is not felt in those foreign nations. And
this is the issue.
Do we continue to find ourselves in this mess in every dispensation?
No, but I think I heard that the government is now serious. They will definitely do something.
After 2 years. Okay.
It's
still counting, and then let's
it's better
see.
than having nothing at all.
Yes, it's better. Maybe lack of money, like you said, and all that. So we hope that
just priorities.
Okay. Is there any disparity between? I don't know. Maybe that's why. Maybe we should just shed more light on that. Career ambassador and political ambassador. So what's the difference? The one is appointed by the president, like a political allies. Just please go and help or whatever. Just try as much as possible.
Ambassadors are ambassadors.
Yes.
And
you rose through the ranks. Career ambassador.
Once you reach the top there, you are an ambassador. And before being an ambassador, you have done the nitty-gritties and you attain that level. But the president has to appoint you first. So even if be you a political gentleman or a career officer, your appointment comes through the president. So there's that is just it. But the career diplomats, they are versatile. They are groomed because they have put in...
They are more professional.
Exactly. They are put in no less than 29, 30 years in the service. And they have learned from those ahead of them, and they are now to practicalize what... They've gone through different missions, go to different countries, post, come back, exercise, look at what is happening, they send them out. So they've acquired the necessary skill. So appointing those ones, because when I was appointed ambassador, I was level 17. They were paying me the money for level 17 in
because
I was
a career ambassador.
So appointing me to an ambassador, that won't change. So you are not adding a single kobo
to your salary.
Yes. So it's just the name. So that's where I said they are not prioritizing. If they are, there are, easier and manageable approach to the issue.
You were a former special assistant to advisor, rather.
No, I was a former protocol liaison officer to President
Obasanjo. Yes, and then you go through the rank and you are a respected career diplomat.
Right.
And then nobody will say you are not an authority when we talk about diplomacy and foreign relations. And then
I think I know
to some extent.
I know a little.
All right. Okay. If you could get the attention of the president, I'm talking about President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, or I just want you to give 3 recommendations concerning our international relations and diplomacy. 3 recommendations to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Yeah, as far as diplomacy is concerned, the president is the #1 diplomat in the country. So, but he needs some people to assist him. So he should, without delay, appoint ambassadors. Wasting time is not going to help us. And we are projecting ourselves as the giants of Africa. And we can't appoint ambassadors in some places. So where is the giantness in the whole process? And also, you see, ambassadors, you go to embassies.
So you said your first recommendation is for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to appoint ambassadors. Is that your first
yes.
Recommendation for him to appoint the ambassador to foreign nations? That's your first recommendations. Then let's look at your second recommendation.
My second recommendation, you see, we are in what they call economic diplomacy. The president, quite okay, is traveling around And lately he went to Brazil. A lot of investment investment agreements were signed. He went to Japan, he went to this, he went to that. You see, investors want to come to Nigeria, but the first place in their countries where they will go to are the embassies. If they go to an embassy and see that the place is shabby, the people are not paying attention because they're not getting their remunerations and all that, is window to the world. The embassy is your window to the world. If the people there are not very serious, no matter how the president travels around, he won't carry them from there to this place. They will look for visa, they will look for this, they will look for that. And information through the internet is all over. So countries where your embassies are not well taken care of, they don't expect something better when they come. It has some implications.
So, okay, Ambassador, on a lighter note now, you were on a foreign mission, a respected career diplomat. Can you recall any scenario when you were at the foreign mission, very special one that you can never forget?
You see, it's very difficult for me to pin a country that I lived and I didn't have fun, because when I joined the Foreign Service, I joined it out of my volition. When I filled the form to get into the Foreign Service, go and check it with the commission. First choice, Foreign Service. Second choice, Foreign Service. Third choice, Foreign Service.
So you're determined and focused.
Since when I was doing my NYSC in Benue State, that was also, I find it difficult. I enjoyed my life doing this job. To the extent that I told people that I could do it for nothing. So you see, it's just not easy for me to come and say, oh, I enjoyed this country, I enjoyed everything about diplomacy, I like it.
In any case, do you have any challenges or were you in any trouble? Or
no, I was never in any, I've never found myself in any position that I was remanded. I was never issued an query. I did the job with a smile on my face.
Wow.
Yes.
So it means that you were a very good diplomat then.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. Okay. Ambassador Hassan, thank you for this insight. Tonight's discussion reminds us that foreign policy is not an abstract subject. It touches our economy, security, our place in the world. Nigeria's future depends not only on what we negotiate abroad, but also on how we position ourselves at home. And to you, our viewers, thank you for joining us. I'm Rayo, Akinsowon, and this has been Crestline, where politics picks. Until next time, good night.
From the corridors of power to the cries on the streets, from broken promises to bold reforms, one show rises above the spin. Crestline.
If monkey jumps when the tree is now closed, the monkey will break legs.
They used 18 members to impeach a governor instead of 22 members.
The political show that dares to go deeper. Crestline brings the voices, the verdicts, and the vision that shapes our future. Join Rayo, Akinsowon. Tough questions, real answers, no filters. Crestline, where politics picks.